The morning sun kissed polished skyscrapers, casting long shadows across the bustling, unaware metropolis below. Commuters flowed like rivers of metal, their daily routines unfolding with predictable, rhythmic precision. Up high, a lone drone captured panoramic views, its cameras panning across the city's vast, urban sprawl. Suddenly, a shimmering distortion appeared, a faint, ethereal ripple against the cerulean sky. It pulsed with an unseen energy, an almost imperceptible tear in the fabric of existence itself. People poussaient, pointing upward, their phones already recording the strange, beautiful anomaly unfolding. The distortion grew, blossoming into a swirling vortex of impossible, shifting colors and light. A low, guttural hum vibrated through the air, rattling windows in towering, unsuspecting office buildings. The vibrant sky began to fracture, cracks spiderwebbing outwards from the rift's expanding maw. A collective gasp rose from the streets as reality itself seemed to stretch and groan in protest. Below, traffic lights flickered erratically, throwing chaotic patterns onto the suddenly terrified faces. Fear replaced curiosity as the rift pulsed, its gravitational pull subtly tugging at the world. Buildings groaned, their steel skeletons protesting against the unnatural, twisting forces at play. Shards of glass rained down from above, glittering like deadly diamonds upon the panicked asphalt. The air crackled with raw, untamed energy, a scent of ozone and something ancient filling the lungs. Cars swerved wildly, their drivers abandoning vehicles in a desperate, futile flight from the unknown. The rift widened further, revealing glimpses of alien landscapes. A dark, primordial world beyond, jagged peaks of obsidian and strange, bioluminescent flora shimmered within the chaotic melt. A terrifying, guttural roar echoed from within, a sound that shook the very foundations of the city. Suddenly, an entire block of skyscrapers shuddered violently, their foundations groaning under immense pressure. They began to tilt, slowly at first, then with an accelerating, horrifying grace towards the sky. The ground tore open, massive fissures snaking through concrete and asphalt, swallowing fleeing vehicles. A bridge, once a symbol of human ingenuity, snapped like a twig, its sections twisting into impossible shapes. The harbor waters churned violently, a colossal whirlpool forming where ships once serenely docked. Entire city blocks lifted into the air, defying gravity, drawn inexorably towards the hungry rift. Steel girders screamed in agony, tearing free from their moorings with deafening, metallic shrieks. Glass facades exploded outwards, showering the rising debris with millions of sparkling, deadly fragments. Vehicles, still occupied by terrified souls, spun helplessly, caught in the rift's devastating, ethereal grip. They ascended slowly, then rapidly, becoming tiny specks against the swirling, cosmic background of destruction. The air filled with the cacophony of crumbling structures, human screams, and the rift's insatiable hunger. Buildings warped into grotesque parodies of their former selves, their shapes stretched and distorted unnaturally. A subway train, mid-transit, was ripped from its tracks, its carriages twisting into a metallic ribbon. The city's proud landmarks became playthings, tossed and broken by the colossal, unseen forces at work. Chunks of the earth, complete with trees and roads, tore free, ascending into the chaotic, vibrant sky. Fountains of water erupted from ruptured pipes, mingling with dust and smoke in the ascending maelstrom. The once familiar skyline shattered, replaced by a jagged, impossible silhouette against the rift's glow. Massive sections of concrete and rebar spun like cosmic dancers, drawn into the dimensional vortex. The gravity here became a fickle mistress, pulling parts of the world into an impossible, vertical ascent. A ferry, midway across the bay, was lifted whole, its passengers clinging to the railings in terror. The churning water below revealed impossible depths, reflecting the chaotic, swirling energies above. Ancient, dragon realm rocks, sharp and obsidian, now mingled with twisted steel beams and shattered glass. Primordial jungle trees, vibrant and alien, floated beside shattered bus stops and bent streetlights. The air became a dizzying collage of disparate elements, a testament to the rift's destructive power. Vehicles, once symbols of progress, now drifted aimlessly, silent monuments to a world undone. A child's toy balloon, red and defiant, drifted past a massive, gnarled root from an ancient forest. The vibrant colors of billboards clashed with the dark, jagged aesthetics of the Dragon Realm's terrain. A lone office chair, still perfectly intact, floated past a colossal, petrified bone from another age. The sun, now a distant, muted orb, cast strange, shifting shadows across the newly formed, chaotic landscape. This realm was no longer singular, but a terrifying mosaic of three disparate realities colliding violently. The roar from within the rift intensified, a sound of immense power and primordial hunger awakening. Massive shadows flickered across the swirling energies, hinting at colossal presences within the vortex. The very air vibrated with anticipation, a prelude to the titanic forces about to be unleashed. Suddenly, a colossal form began to coalesce within the swirling storm clouds above the rifted city. It was a silhouette of unimaginable scale, a dark, majestic presence slowly revealing itself. The clouds parted as if by command, revealing shimmering scales of iridescent, obsidian hue. 5 serpentine heads emerged, their eyes glowing with an ancient, malevolent intelligence and power. Tiamat, the Dragon Queen, descended from the heavens, a living tempest of myth and destruction. Her colossal wings beat with the force of hurricanes, sending debris scattering across the sky. Elemental energies crackled around each head. Fire, ice, lightning, acid, and poison coalescing. She surveyed the ruined city, her gaze cold and calculating, assessing the new, strange territory. Below, the few surviving humans stared up in horrified awe, their screams swallowed by the wind. Military sirens wailed, a desperate, futile cry against the incoming, overwhelming devastation now appearing. Jets scrambled from distant air bases, tiny metal insects preparing for an impossible, suicidal fight. Missile batteries locked on, their targeting systems struggling to comprehend the colossal threat above. Tiamat's heads hissed, a low, rumbling sound of annoyance emanating from her multiple throats. These small, buzzing nuisances dared to challenge her, the rightful queen of all dragons. Her massive tail, spiked and scaled, flicked impatiently, stirring up more dust and debris. The air grew heavy with her presence, a palpable aura of ancient power and predatory grace. She dipped ahead, sniffing the strange, metallic scent of this unfamiliar, fractured world below. The rift pulsed, radiating an energy that resonated deeply within her ancient, powerful being. She sensed a vast, untapped power, a new realm for her dominion, for her infinite hunting grounds. Her eyes narrowed, gleaming with ambition as she surveyed the chaotic, merged landscape spread beneath her. The tiny human machines ascended, their futile missiles arcing skyward towards the colossal goddess. A low growl rumbled through her multiple throats, a warning to the insignificant beings below. She was majesty, she was terror, a force of nature made flesh, descending upon their fragile world. A shadow fell like a shroud across the shattered city, a harbinger of untold destruction to come. The winds whipped around her, carrying the scent of fear and the dust of shattered civilizations. Her colossal form blotted out the sun, plunging the ruined cityscape into an eerie, premature twilight. The ground trembled, not from her landing, but from an unseen, growing tremor from within the city. A deep, resonant thud echoed, shaking the very foundations of the half-rifted half-city structures. Tiamat pushed, her head swiveling, sensing a rival presence, a challenger to her newfound territory. A colossal shadow moved beneath the debris, a ground-shaking force emerging from the urban rubble. The shattered remnants of a gleaming skyscraper suddenly exploded outwards in a shower of glass and steel. Dust and debris billowed into the air, obscuring the colossal beast now tearing through the wreckage. A massive, scaled head, larger than any building, burst forth with terrifying, primal force. Titan Rex emerged, a living engine of destruction, roaring his dominance over the broken landscape. His eyes, like molten gold, scanned the horizon, Oblivious to the tiny human structures around him, he ignored the terrified humans, his focus solely on the immense rift and the dragon above him. His powerful tail swept through the debris, sending cars and rubble flying like insignificant toys. The ground vibrated with each thunderous step, a primal declaration of his unchallenged, brutal might. Rex's colossal jaws opened wide, unleashing a deafening, earth-shattering roar of pure, untamed rage. Tiamat's heads hissed in response, her elemental powers flaring, acknowledging the formidable challenge below. The air crackled with tension, a silent standoff between two primordial forces in this fractured world. Rex continued his relentless charge, tearing through the metallic skeletons of fallen skyscrapers effortlessly. His immense bulk carved a path of utter devastation, reducing concrete and steel to mere dust. He was a force of nature, a living earthquake, utterly indifferent to the remnants of human civilization. His gaze remained fixed on the sky, on the arrogant, multi-headed queen daring to invade his territory. Tiamat descended slightly, her wings beating slower, observing the raw, unbridled power of the beast. She sensed his territorial fury, a challenge to her dominion over this chaotic, newly merged realm. One of her heads, the fiery one, exhaled a plume of scorching heat, testing the air around Rex. Rex merely stomped, sending vibrations through the ground, a defiant, unspoken warning to the sky serpent. The rift pulsed above them, its energies reacting violently to the clash of these titanic wills. Below, scattered humans watched in paralyzed horror, witnessing the end of their world by divine beasts. News helicopters, defying all reason, attempted to capture footage, their lenses zooming in on the Titans. Frantic news anchors reported on they struggled for words, describing the impossible beings as scientists in makeshift command centers monitored energy readings, their faces etched with grim fear. The rift's energy signature spiked erratically, threatening to destabilize reality with every pulse. Military commanders barked orders, their voices strained with desperation and an underlying terror. Jets screamed past Tiamat, launching their payload of missiles, tiny sparks against her colossal form. The missiles detonated, creating minuscule explosions against her shimmering, ancient scales. Tiamat barely registered the impact, merely a fleeting itch against her divine, impenetrably hide. Rex roared, a barrage of missiles impacting his thick, armored hide with dull, ineffective thuds. He shook his massive head, dislodging one, which careened into a nearby, half-collapsed skyscraper. The building groaned, then disintegrated, its debris adding to the chaotic, swirling rift field. Tiamat's acid spitting had unleashed a torrent of corrosive bile, melting a fighter jet instantly. Another head, crackling with lightning, discharged a blinding bolt, vaporizing a missile mid-flight. The sky filled with explosions, not from the Titan's attacks, but from the military's futile efforts. These explosions, however small, ripped further holes in the fragile, merged environment now around them. The rift visibly widened, its edges fraying, consuming more of the city with each passing moment. Tiamat lashed out with her icy breath, freezing a squadron of jets into crystalline shards of metal. They tumbled from the sky, glittering monuments to human futility against a godlike adversary. Rex, annoyed by the aerial bombardment, swiped a massive claw at a low-flying helicopter. The machine disintegrated in a burst of sparks and metal, its fragments scattering across the ruins. He then slammed his head into a colossal, half-standing building, using it as a temporary shield. The skyscraper groaned, buckled, and then imploded, its massive weight feeding the rift's hunger. The destructive collateral damage of their mere presence intensified the rift's chaotic expansion. Tiamat's poison head spewed noxious fumes, creating a swirling cloud of emerald death across the sky. The air became unbreathable, a toxic miasma adding to the apocalyptic atmosphere of the fused world. Rex continued his advance, his powerful legs churning through debris, shaking the very ground beneath. He ignored the toxic clouds, his primordial physiology immune to such mundane, elemental attacks. His roar reverberated, a challenge to Tiamat's aerial supremacy, demanding a ground-level confrontation. Tiamat's central head, radiating pure arcane energy, pulsed with an ominous, violet light. She prepared a devastating magical assault, a spell of immense power to quell the insolent beast. The rift above them pulsed in rhythm with her power, its energies growing more turbulent, more unstably. The merged landscape groaned, parts of it shimmering as reality struggled to maintain its coherence. A lone scientist, Dr. Aristorne, stared at his console, his face pale with dawning horror. His data screamed a warning. The rift energy was accelerating, approaching an irreversible threshold now. He understood the implication. If the energy hit a critical point, the rift would become permanent. All three worlds, human, dragon, and primordial, would merge catastrophically, irrevocably, forever. He frantically relayed his findings, his voice hoarse with urgency, to the disbelieving command center. The military, still focused on futile attacks, struggled to grasp the existential threat now facing them. Thor knew this was not merely a monster attack, but an apocalypse of dimensional proportions unfolding. The Titans' conflict, their very existence in this space, fueled the rift's destructive expansion directly. Every roar, every elemental blast, every shattered building pushed reality closer to its breaking point. The sky above them shimmered with unstable energies, a kaleidoscope of impending, total annihilation. Tiamat unleashed her arcane blast, a violet beam of pure force streaking towards the ground-bound Rex. Rex met the attack with a primal roar, his body radiating an immense, protective burst of kinetic energy. The two forces collided in a blinding flash, sending shockwaves ripping through the entire fused world. The impact cratered the ground, vaporizing buildings and creating a temporary, dust-filled void. The rift above pulsed violently, its colors shifting wildly as reality struggled to contain the power. Thorn watched in horror as the energy readings on his screen spiked, nearly redlining completely. The threshold was imminent, the point of no return for all three interconnected, doomed dimensions. Tiamat's heads hissed in frustration. Rex had withstood her magical assault, a rare feat indeed. Rex snarled, his scales scorched, but his fury undiminished, his predatory gaze fixed on the dragon. He lunged forward, a living avalanche of muscle and teeth, aiming to tear Tiamat from the sky. Tiamat ascended swiftly, avoiding his snapping jaws, her wings propelling her higher into the chaos. The chase began, a deadly ballet between sky and earth, weaving through the shattered cities. Rex smashed through another building, his momentum carrying him forward, unrelenting in his pursuit. Tiamat fired elemental blasts indiscriminately, tearing apart structures in her desperate evasion. Each destructive act, each clash of power, further destabilized the already fracturing dimensional barrier. The rift grew wider, its raw, chaotic energy now visible as shimmering tendrils reaching downwards. These tendrils snaked through the air, touching buildings and causing them to shimmer, then vanish. The merged world was dissolving, parts of it winking out of existence, pulled into the void. Thorn screamed into his comms. The military's futile attacks ceased, their pilots now witnessing the true, terrifying scale of the threat. They were not fighting monsters. They were witnessing the unraveling of reality itself, firsthand. Tiamat and Rex, locked in their primal struggle, seemed oblivious to the world's impending doom. Their ancient rivalry overshadowed all, their instincts driving them towards ultimate, destructive dominance. The rift pulsed again, a deep, resonant throb, unlike any detected before by human instruments. This pulse was different, more deliberate, emanating from the very core of the dimensional tear. A strange, cold energy spread through the fused landscape, silencing the wind, chilling the air. Across all three worlds, hidden devices, glowing obelisks, and ancient glyphs began to hum and flash in forgotten temples, within alien ruins, and beneath the city, dormant energies suddenly awoke. A coordinated, synchronized flash of light erupted from these scattered, mysterious artifacts simultaneously. A wave of unseen force then surged from the rift's heart, washing over the battling titans below. Tiamat staggered in midair, her 5 heads recoiling, a visible tremor shaking her colossal form. Rex roared in pain, his immense body lurching, his powerful legs buckling under the sudden, draining assault. Both apex predators paused, their immense power momentarily dimmed, visibly weakened by the strange pulse. Their eyes, once filled with rage, now held a flicker of confusion, a dawning realization of something more. The draining pulse receded, leaving Tiamat and Rex disoriented. Their battle momentarily forgotten now, they looked towards the rift, a new fear dawning in their ancient, predatory eyes. A deeper threat. The energy that had struck them was not an attack, but a siphon, draining their very life force. A chilling realization settled. Something within the rift fed on their conflict, growing stronger. The ground trembled again, not from their steps, but from the rift's insatiable, growing hunger. Tiamat's heads hissed, a collective growl of primal fury mixed with a new, unsettling comprehension. Rex stamped his foot, his golden eyes scanning the rift's swirling depths with wary, predatory caution. The air grew heavy, an oppressive silence falling over the shattered, merged landscape of three worlds. Dr. Thorne, witnessing the Titan's reaction, felt a cold dread creep into his very soul now. His instruments detected a new, insidious energy signature emanating from the rift's dark core. It was intelligent, vast, and ancient. A cosmic entity slowly revealing its true, terrifying presence. The rift was not merely a tear. It was a mouth, consuming worlds, nourished by colossal, destructive power. Tiamat's gaze pierced the swirling chaos, her instincts screaming of an adversary far beyond her ken. Rex snarled, sensing a rival for dominance unlike any he had ever encountered in his primal existence. The ground beneath them began to glow faintly, reflecting the insidious light from the rift's depths. A low, ethereal hum resonated through the very bones of the earth, vibrating through all existence. The fused landscape twisted further, entire sections dissolving into glittering dust and raw energy. The sky above became a canvas of swirling, impossible colors, reflecting the rift's true, cosmic nature. Tiamat's wings beat slowly, her flight now more cautious, her elemental powers held in tense reserve. Rex moved with a predatory grace, his massive frame radiating coiled power, ready for the unknown. The military, silent now, watched the Titans, realizing their war was insignificant in this larger cosmic horror. Dr. Thorne frantically input data, trying to predict the entity's next move, its ultimate, terrifying goal. He understood the Titans were not the destroyers, but unwitting pawns in a grander, darker game. The rift pulsed again, stronger this time, drawing more energy from the very fabric of reality itself. Tiamat roared, a frustrated, angry sound, her 5 heads thrashing against the unseen, draining force. Rex bellowed, slamming his tail into the ground, sending shockwaves of defiance against the insidious drain. The cosmic entity, unseen but undeniably present, continued its relentless, silent consumption of power. The air grew cold, a chilling presence making the hairs on human necks stand on end with primal fear. Tiamat's scales dulled slightly, her elemental aura flickering, a clear sign of her diminishing power. Rex's muscles, usually taut with strength, showed a subtle tremor, his immense energy slowly ebbing. The rift's edges became sharper, more defined, as if solidifying its hold on the merged dimensions. The human city, the dragon realm, and the dinosaur world were inexorably merging, becoming one. This was the catastrophic merger Thorne had warned about, now accelerating beyond all control. The Titans, once adversaries, now shared a common, existential threat, a foe beyond their comprehension. Tiamat's fiery head exhaled a plume of smoke. A sigh of frustration and dawning, cold realization. Rex stomped, his gaze darting between Tiamat and the pulsating rift, an unspoken question in his eyes. The cosmic entity within the rift pulsed again, a deliberate, powerful surge of draining energy now. Tiamat cried out, a sound of agony, her colossal form visibly shrinking, losing some of its grandeur. Rex roared, falling to one knee, his body convulsing, his primal strength being violently stripped away. The air shimmered around them, distorting their forms, making them appear fleeting, vulnerable now. The true enemy had revealed its nature, a parasitic force, feeding on the very essence of their power. It was an overmind, an ancient cosmic entity, orchestrating the rift's chaotic, destructive expansion. Its goal was not conquest, but consumption, draining all three worlds of their vital, raw energy. The rift was its mouth, the merged worlds its feast, the Titans, its unwitting, powerful sustenance. Tiamat looked at Rex, her multifaceted eyes holding a flicker of something akin to shared desperation. Rex met her gaze, his primal intelligence recognizing the dire, immediate need for a temporary truce. The overmind pulsed again, sending forth coordinated rift-spawn grotesque hybrids of all three worlds. These new monsters, born of Chaos, swarmed from the rift, attacking Tiamat and Rex with feral hunger. They were abominations, twisted amalgamations of scales, steel, and ancient reptilian flesh now. Tiamat, weakened but still defiant, unleashed a desperate, multi-elemental blast at the encroaching horde. Rex, struggling to rise, roared, his massive jaws snapping at the nearest, grotesque creature now. The battle shifted, no longer Titan against Titan, but Titans against the Overmind's monstrous army. The rift spawn swarmed them, biting, clawing, their numbers overwhelming even the weakened giants. Tiamat's wings beat furiously, creating gales of wind that scattered some of the smaller abominations. Rex swung his tail, a living wrecking ball, pulverizing dozens of the grotesque, hybrid creatures now. But for every respawn destroyed, two more emerged from the ever-widening, hungry dimensional tier. The Overmind's presence grew stronger, its insidious hum resonating through the entire merged world. Tiamat and Rex fought back-to-back, an instinctive, primal alliance forged in shared desperation. Their roars mingled, a defiant chorus against the cosmic horror attempting to consume their worlds. The sky above them shimmered, the rift small growing wider, threatening to swallow all existence now. Dr. Thorne watched, his heart pounding, as the Titans, once enemies, fought for their very survival. He realized the true prophecy was not their battle, but their desperate, unified stand against oblivion. The Overmind pulsed again, a dark, resonant throb, demanding more energy from its cosmic feast. Tiamat felt her strength waning, her elemental powers flickering, her scales growing duller now. Rex stumbled, his colossal legs shaking, his mighty roar reduced to a pained, guttural growl now. The rift spawn pressed their attack, their numbers seemingly infinite, their hunger insatiable and vast. The merged world groaned, its reality stretched thin, on the verge of complete, utter disintegration. Tiamat looked at Rex, a silent communication passing between the ancient, powerful beings now. They understood. Their survival depended on a combined, desperate effort, a singular, focused attack. The Overmind pulsed, its energy signature reaching critical mass, threatening to consume all light. Tiamat gathered her remaining elemental power, her 5 heads glowing with a desperate, unified light. Rex channeled his primal kinetic energy, his body radiating an immense, destructive, golden aura now. They turned as one, facing the swirling, hungry maw of the rift, their combined fury unleashed. Tiamat unleashed a torrent of concentrated elemental energy, a rainbow of destructive force now. Rex roared, discharging a colossal, focused blast of pure kinetic force from his massive jaws. The two ultimate attacks converged, a blinding, cataclysmic wave of power striking the rift's core. The Overmind shrieked, a sound of cosmic agony, reverberating through the entire, fractured multiverse. The rift pulsed, violently, contracting and expanding, struggling against the Titan's combined assault. A colossal explosion of light and energy erupted, tearing through the very fabric of existence itself. The Overmind's presence shattered, its insidious hum replaced by a deafening, cosmic silence now. The rift spawn shrieked, dissolving into dust as their master's power was utterly, violently broken. Tiamat and Rex stood, exhausted, their forms shimmering, their immense powers severely depleted now. The rift convulsed, its edges still frayed, but its destructive expansion finally began to recede. The immediate threat was gone, the Overmind vanquished, but the victory came at an immense, terrible cost. Their worlds remained broken, partially merged, a chaotic tapestry of disparate realities, now fused. The city was gone, replaced by jagged mountains and primordial jungles, forever changed by the rift. Tiamat looked at Rex, a silent acknowledgement passing between the weary, triumphant, yet sorrowful titans. The battle was won, but the war for their worlds, forever altered, had only just begun in earnest. A new, unstable reality now existed, a fragile balance between three worlds, forever intertwined. The Titans stood amidst the ruins, their future uncertain, their uneasy alliance tested by the dawn.